All right, Pat. So Judd and I have completed all 8 episodes of Quarterback. Declan's about halfway through. Do you plan to watch any of the Netflix Quarterback documentary starring Kirk Cousins?
It's not on my game plan, but if I'm really bored some night, I might watch an episode and see if it's okay. I'd be interested in the Pat Mahomes stuff, probably. I have no interest in the weenie head we have for this team. I have no,
Wow.
I have no
What
interest.
about Mariota? It's funny. I'll spoil something. So it's 8 episodes. Mariota quit the Falcons, and they stopped filming him after like the first 5 episodes. So.
Oh, really? Because I thought that might be the most interesting thing, that this was the guy, and now he's not a guy, and I thought that might be interesting. What I do find interesting. Netflix has really been in trouble. Nobody's been watching. They got all these god awful, shows from it. I like international movies and stuff, but they never have any good ones. And they've really, lost their standing. But these sports things they've been doing, the Formula One thing was huge. Then they followed it up with golf. The golf one was pretty good. Mm-hmm. And the tennis one, I actually watched the tennis one. I liked the tennis one because the angst that these like number 6 players in the world, or 7, not the ones that are at the very top, not Djokovic, but those guys, the angst they have when they're getting ready to play a quarterfinal in Wimbledon. And I like the one-on-one concept of it, the fact that, it's you and him or you and her, and there's nowhere to hide, and you got to beat them. And I thought it was really good. But then now this thing, I'm sure, will be huge in the ratings. Didn't they just post it yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah. And you guys have already watched? You guys have already watched?
Yes.
I spent the entire day yesterday.
Were they half hours or what?
45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And I would never be that bored. I couldn't make it all.
It is, Judd, would you agree that, well, let's put ourselves in convincing Pat shoes here. We know Pat pretty well. Do you think Pat, Judd, would enjoy this series?
The thing about Reusse is you're tough with documentaries, because I know that you like some, but there's a lot that you don't like, especially when it comes to sports attempts. So my guess is no. I think you'd like portions. He'd love the Mahomes stuff. He'd love the bleep you stuff.
So
at the end, I think you would probably pan the entire thing.
No, but here's what I got to know. Okay, is it's 45 minutes today's Mahomes, or do we go back and forth and back and forth?
Yes, back and forth and back and forth.
Spliced
together with different
I'd rather not have that. I'd rather have, okay, today's episode is Kirk. Tomorrow's episode is Mahomes. But it's probably time to be a season. Is that, what's going on with each of them during a season? Is that how that works?
Yeah, and they do it so that it's not like 2 minutes of Kirk over to. It's like, all right, the first 10 or 15 minutes are going to be Mahomes, and then they go into the Kirk story, and then they might come back around. So Judd and I are actually kind of joking about, you could probably fast forward through the Mariota stuff. It's really not. It's not as riveting. I agree. The story going in is, wow, this guy that was a number 2 overall pick, but he's kind of a dud personality. And then after his wife has a baby and they remove him as starter, and he just like leaves the team, and that was it.
So to have surgery, he's like,
you gotta like the way that they picked him, the number 1 star in football, and then this guy who's in the middle, and then this guy who's trying to get back to what he was supposed to be. So you got, you're picking 3 different levels of quarterbacks there, but when one of them leaves you, that kind of takes some of the fun out of it, I guess. Does Kirk tell us how much he loves his higher power and all that crap?
It's a heavy theme throughout
Well, and it's not just him; it's the family.
Do we get to meet Trump's buddy, Dad?
I don't think. No.
They did a couple things that I thought were interesting. They focused on the families, Pat, but like with Kirk, it's Kirk and his wife Julie and their son Cooper, and the really interesting thing, and you can tell, I think it was mandated. Patrick Mahomes' wife plays a huge part here. His parents do, but his crazy brother, who is seen in the suite a lot with the wife during games, is not ever mic'd up. You never hear him say a word, basically.
Yeah.
So they basically said, leave crazy brother out of this entirely.
How's Pat come off? Dad, is he in there much?
Oh, he's in there a lot. Yeah, he's not like in front of the camera a
We
lot, but
don't have him with the whiskey bottle in the stands, though, like a couple 3 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Did he tighten her up a little for the
Life's taking its toll, you can tell. Let's just say
Oh
that.
yeah.
they did show some clips of him pitching for the Twins.
Yep.
Or maybe it was Cubs. Might have been Cubs because he was with the Cubs too.
He had a little run as a reliever they did okay with as a reliever for about 10 minutes, right? With the Cubs or something.
Yeah.
And the Mets, I think.
Last time I talked to him, he was pitching in the Northern League for Sioux Falls or somebody at the beautiful Midway Stadium. He was good mood, and everything, but he was, pitching for $250 a week, which is his son's making more than that now. So
Yeah, it is. I will say it is on the Kirk front. It is interesting. I don't think it's put on. I don't think they're just doing it for like the brand. They live their life in a lot of ways as if they're just, making a grinded out salary. Like Kirk, there's a scene, not to spoil here for people who haven't watched, but where Kirk just like goes to a Barnes and Noble for an hour. Literally just is like hanging out in the Barnes and Noble. He walks over to the gal at the desk and says, "Hey, excuse me, do you work here? Can you help me find a book?" And then they're like going through the catalog. And then he walks out with like 9 different books.
But the fact that there's somebody walking around with a camera pointed at him probably gives you a hint that it's not Joe Blow from
Right.
Kokomo. That gives you a little bit of a hint. So
Right.
I always suspicious. I don't know. I didn't watch the Jordan thing after the episode 1, and that took the nation by storm. I said, I don't want to listen to this. I'm not big on replays. I don't watch old games, I'm an old man who likes to write about old games, but I don't watch them.
But don't you like to see, Pat, what intrigues me about the Jordan one, or in this case, Mahomes? I love to see how people who are like that operate. Like Kirk, there's no real like shockers here. There's no like, oh my God, I didn't know Kirk did this or that. It's sort of confirmation of Kirk. The Mahomes one though, like I know he's great, but this documentary like shows you why. And like the Jordan stuff to me was so interesting, not because it was flattering, but it just shows you the mentality of people who will basically cut your legs off to win. Like they will kill you to win.
Yeah. With the Jordan one, did they tell us why his car was parked in front of the Ambassador Hotel all the time when his family lived out in the suburbs? Does anyone know? Did we ever get into that?
Jordan had final edit power there, so they might have cut that one out.
There was some interesting stuff in that one, though.
Yeah. Well, there should have. God, I hope so. It was on for 2
Yes,
months.
there was a lot of interesting stuff there. Mahomes has that sort of Jordan. You get to see Mahomes behind the scenes in his house. He's just there's a great moment in the first episode where Max Crosby, the defensive end from the Raiders, kind of gives a cheap shot, and you just see how Mahomes went from just like kind of being in the game to I'm going to murder everyone. We're going to score 40 points. And then he's telling the story to his friends and family after the game. And he's just, but he has this way of wanting to kill everyone, but also everyone loves him. Because at the end of the second Raiders game, him and Max Crosby are like hugging it out and stuff like. And he kind of strategically explains how if you're really nice to defenders and you're complimenting them on their rushes, they might not bury you on a hit if they have a chance to, right? Stuff like that, where you just get to hear their insights.
Favre had a little of that with him.
Yes.
One of the great players to come in and sack him. Hey, hell of a good play, and in other words, don't hit me quite as hard the next time because I'm really a good guy.
Pat him on the butt.
Favre had a little of that. I don't think Mahomes is going to be in a situation financially where he'll have to be defrauding the state of Mississippi out of money.
Probably not.
At the end of his career, I think he'll probably be in better shape than that.
So there's a scene, though, Pat, in the last one where he's talking to Hurts at the Super Bowl like pregame stuff or pre stuff, and he says that I've got a crib in Arizona. And Hurts said, you bought a house here. And he goes, no. 3 months ago, I rented an Airbnb. Because the prices, Super Bowl. Yes, for the Super Bowl, because the prices were outrageous. So basically what's great is 3 months before, he was pretty sure that his team would make the Super Bowl, which was great. The second thing is, and this is the great thing about rich players, they're still frugal as hell. He's like, I can afford it now, but I ain't paying more than that.
Well, they get so much for free that they want everything for free. I think everybody's giving them everything and on a silver platter when they actually have to pay for it. They don't. I've seen that cheapness in person from some ball players at times. So they are. That's the way they are. You're used to getting everything for free. So I guess I would be interested in the relationship with Andy.
Andy's featured a lot in this,
and Andy just, I'm sure, lets him, do whatever he wants to do, right?
I feel like I don't want to keep spoiling things, but since you brought it up, so there's a theme on the Mahomes stuff that it's like every Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which practice day, because the players all have ideas for like what they could run, so Andy carves out time every week for players to make up their own plays and pitch the play. So it's like, if you guys have an idea, work on it on your own time, and then we'll carve out some time on a Wednesday or Thursday. You can pitch me your play ideas. Yeah. And that's how, like, remember when they did the snow globe play where they're running around? Like, all these crazy ideas come out of, they've created like a think tank among the players. And Andy says, at the end of the day, I'll decide if we run it or not, but why don't you just make up crazy plays and send them to me? That's the Chiefs.
But the NFL basically filmed this, right, and put it on Netflix. So it's a house operation. I don't know if the others have been that way too. I suppose with the access they get, it almost has to be. But Netflix has definitely found something that finally works for them. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So anyway. That's how I might have to watch an episode.
I'm excited for the golf one to come out again because they're filming during all this, PIF live stuff. By the way, Greg Norman just got fired, right? The story came out that the part of the agreement between PGA and PIF was that Greg Norman would be removed as the CEO of
but I bet he's leaving with a nice hunk of Saudi cash, wouldn't you say? He's
I don't know.
Probably walking out of there with $100 million, so I don't think he'll be too bad. I might have to watch a little fast forward through the Kirk stuff. Just tell me when he gets to the play where he throws under the. What I'm really interested in is in episode 8. Does he tell us why he threw under the sticks and lost the play?
It's episode 7. It's episode 7, and he does. I'm going to tell you, though, if you are expecting like full chapter and verse on the conversation with O'Connell, you ain't going to get it.
Okay.
So you'll complain about that.
Yeah, because they don't give you that. Yeah, that's the thing. Is the NFL's doing it. You're not getting access. You aren't getting like anything that would embarrass anybody or stuff.
The Mahomes F-bombs are worth your time.
Oh, is he a good F-bomber?
That's great F-bomber.
One of the best. Hall of Fame F-bomber. Loved it.
Probably learned something from Dad then.
Actually, they did a lot. There's half an episode devoted to when he hurt his ankle in that Jaguars game, and everyone's mic'd up. Bieniemy's mic'd up. Nagy, the quarterback's coach, is mic'd up, and it's just. And then they've got all the commentary from these guys talking about kind of looking back. And him trying to talk his way back into the game, doesn't want to get an X-ray. They did a whole thing on all that stuff, and it was phenomenal.
Genius by the NFL and Netflix, though, to break it out on the Wednesday after the All-Star game when there isn't a sporting event in the United States of America. Those guys are geniuses. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. They got your brains washed, you sap.
I'm ready for training camp, Pat. Let's go.
We have people here who think Ziggy is this great owner. He's taking $250 million a year in profit from you, you saps. You all had to pay seat licenses to get seats for no reason. He didn't need the money at all. He just wanted to screw you. And now he's trying to screw you out of $280 million so they can upgrade the computer system that cheap SOB should be paying for. The Twins have paid for all that crap at Target Field, and they got, much less money invested in their stadium by the public than these guys. And we think he's a hero. And oh, well, you got to fix up the stadium for $280 million 2 weeks after the damn thing opened, for God's sake.
That doesn't mean, yeah, there should be, like, when you build a new stadium, it should be open for like 12 or 15 years before we put another 9 figures in upgrades,
we're
right?
Still trying. We're putting a fence that's going to cost $40 million around it. I said, get 2 Paul Blarts on their machines outside at night and drive around. You can pay them for 100 years with what this is costing.
Park 2 tanks outside there, Pat.
Yeah. No, get Paul Blart going around saying, "Hey, what are you doing here? Get out of here!"
Paul Blart.
Have some guy sitting out there next to a table with smoking cigarettes, seeing if anybody comes up to the building and does something stupid at night. Instead, we're going to put up a $50 million fence. God, they're idiots.
It was supposed to be the People's Stadium, though. Like, you're supposed to be able to go up to it and smoke. Yeah. That's the whole point.
Now you're going to have to run a tank through the fence to get to the People's Stadium. God, they got the stadium commission so far in their pockets, it's unbelievable. So,
amazing.
But we love Ziggy because the NFL, I mean, they're unbelievable. They're the greatest marketers in history.
We got before we say goodbye here. To this point, I don't think the Twins have made any moves. No one's been, hitting coach fired. No Waller, nothing, right?
The plane's leaving early this afternoon too. If they're going to do anything, they got to do her here pretty quick. Don't they?
Do they just stop someone when they get like, "Hey, Joey, sorry, guy,
give him a parachute
scan. What's happening?"
Give him a parachute and push him out and say, "Okay, ripcord it, baby."
I thought things were so pathetic Monday morning that they'd do something, but now I don't think they will.
What are they doing?
I don't know. They might change a relief pitcher. That's me. It's the only thing. I don't know. Now, did the Duke tell us? Does it Duke tell us
Declan and I.
Falvey's still in on Kepler, huh? He still thinks there's a great. The guy's 29. This is year 4. You are what you are at age 29. You are what you are because you can't take steroids anymore. They test you, so you are what you are. So
they should allow steroids again.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Well, yeah. Now that they don't have the juice, either the juice baseball or steroids, one of the two. Let's go back. Just gentle steroids. Your head size can't increase by your cap size. Once your cap size increases by 1, you go from a 14 to a 16, then you got to stop taking steroids.
Yeah, so they don't test you for steroids. They measure your head when you come in. Just make sure,
when you're like Barry Bonds and you suddenly have this ungodly huge head.
Give me some gentle steroids, please.
Yes.
Gentle steroids, yes.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we'll do it again tomorrow. Maybe we'll either react to whatever the Twins do or what they don't do.
This could be some serious Twins bashing tomorrow, if nothing.
The A's just called up 2 of their best prospects for this series.
Yep.
Who did? A's?
The A's did. Yeah, they're loading up.
The A's are trying harder than the Twins. The A's they're more committed than the Twins, for God's sake.
It's time to start chanting "Sell the team at Target Field."
Yes, that's right.
The A's fans, it's working. Let's try that.
Yes, that's right. All right.
All right, Pat. All right, that's Reusse Unchained, presented in part by our friends at Summit Orthopedics. So if you're dealing with any sort of pain, ankles, feet, back, neck, spine, elbows, wrist, hands, shoulders, no referrals needed. Same-day appointments are accepted. And also, if you're really in pain, they do have a walk-in orthopedic urgent care 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 25 locations across the Twin Cities and greater Minnesota area. Learn more at summitortho.com. Summitortho.com.